CA BT Shetty sir, man behind this event, to present the welcome address.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Happy morning. Friends, before we proceed, further, as a mark of respect to our heroes, our soldiers who lost their life in the tragic helicopter crash day before yesterday, along with our Chief of Defense Staff, General Bipin Rawat, let us pray Almighty to protect our soldier. Indirectly, they protect all of us. Let us make a minute silence prayer. Thank you. Friends, after a long time, due to COVID, we couldn't organize a physical program. As technology changed, we thought it have a hybrid mode program today on the topic GST. Unfortunately, again, a new variant is coming up, and majority of our members is comfortable with the online mode. We restricted very minimum number to this physical gathering, as government also suggested, as far as possible, minimize the gathering. In that direction, we organize this program on a hybrid mode. As chief guest of this program, our president agreed to come physically here, but due to some emergency reason at head office, he stayed back in Delhi and he agreed to join virtually. Friends, we are really fortunate. We have our own president, the year 2014-15 of our ICAI. He's very generous. He's very, very supportive when it comes to Bangalore branch. Whatever we ask, there is only answer yes. His prime time of the profession, he sacrificed for the profession and fraternity. Around more than 21 years to the profession. Even after, every day I think he has engagements of online or offline. When I asked him, since president is not able to make it physically, please come. He said, yes, I'm there. That kind of person is our past president, C.A.K. Raghu. On behalf of Bangalore branch and on behalf of all the participants, physical and virtual here, hearty welcome, sir. Yes, friends, we are really fortunate. Our president, today's chief guest, a dynamic leader, a visionary, C.A. Nihar and Jambusaria sir with us. On behalf of Bangalore branch and on behalf of all the participants here, hearty welcome to our president. Hearty welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir. Even in his busy schedule, he made it. Friends, we have our MC member, Vice Chairman, dynamic leader, future leader of our branch, C.A. Srinivas with us. Hearty welcome, Srinivas. charming secretary of the branch, CA Divya. Hearty welcome, Divya. MC members of our branch, hearty welcome to each one of you. RC members, past chairmen of our branch, and more importantly, KCA President Chandan Hegde and Pramod, Secretary, joined us. Hearty welcome to both of you. Members, both physically available here and virtually joined. You are the reason for this program. Hearty welcome to each one of you. And my special thanks and welcome to our technical session speakers. The first session speaker had to join, she is going to join now. And all other faculties who are the brain behind this GST 2 days conference. They are going to impart their valuable knowledge and precious time with us. Hearty welcome to each one of them. Friends, I'll just mention a few of important programs Bangalore branch conducted for the benefit of general public. Yes, we always do conduct program for our own self to develop our knowledge. That anyhow, it's a routine program. We conducted several programs, more importantly, more so in workshops, which are new areas of practice that we conducted during the year. In addition to that, we all feel proud that we have conducted good number of programs for the general public benefit. Some of those I'll just wish to mention for the information of our members. That is the first program we conducted, training of urban local bodies accountants of all over Karnataka. 240 urban local bodies participated in that 12 hours of practical training. Our members who had experience in this urban municipalities accounting, they trained them for 12 hours in 4 days, in 6 days, every days of 2 hours. At the end of that training, the Municipal Administration Minister, Sri MTB Nagaraj, and our President also joined virtually and concluded that valedictory program. It was a very, very successful. Every participant benefited from that training program. Friends, second important training program, the faculty development program for university commerce faculties that we conducted for again 12 hours of training, 2 hours every day for 6 days. More than 1,200 commerce faculties from various colleges and universities, more than 1,200 commerce faculties across India from various universities participated in that GST training program. It is a multiple effect program because we train the faculties. In return, they give education, a quality training to their students. It in lakhs. That is again a proud moment for all of us. Friends, another important app which we developed in our website is Tax Clinic. Tax Clinic is such a thing there our members and general public can ask any questions on direct tax and indirect tax. Answer will come from a team of experts, both on direct tax and indirect tax. So I request members to spread this news to your clients and public. And at the same time, you can also avail that benefit of clarification on any doubts on direct tax and indirect tax. Another important program we conducted, RC College. Majority of you know, RC College is an important, a large government college having more than 4,000 commerce students. It is meant for commerce education. There we selected 80 students from final year BCom and conducted 110 hours hands-on training in accounting, GST, TDS, income tax, and soft skill. It's a physical training of 110 hours imparted by our own members who are qualified to impart such training. They trained them, and at the end of after completing the training of 110 hours, we conducted a campus placement. 11 corporate and companies, CA firms, participated that in placement by paying 10,000 rupees plus tax and recruited them. Almost all placed in that campus placement. Again, a happy moment because this last 2 years due to COVID, proper training not happened to become students. By this practical training, they're able to get the employment. Majority of students are economically poor. They find it difficult to get employment in open market, in the competition. They got that benefit through ICAI Bangalore branch. Friends, another important program in the same college we started on 1st of December is foundation coaching class, physical foundation closing class. Again, I'm telling economically poor students are coming to that government college. We have started this physical foundation coaching class. Because of that, 65 students enrolled for CA Foundation. 65 students enrolled for that program. And we commenced this training. Cost for that per student comes around 7,500. We are collecting just 2,000 rupees from them. Remaining 5,500 is sponsored by a corporate. So again, for this program, no financial cost to burden to the branch. Even for the earlier program, there is no financial cost to these are all sustainable program. Year on year, year after year, we can continue this. It will benefit the needy. Friends, in addition to that, we have arranged 17th of this month, one more faculty development program on IFRS. This is again for the government commerce college faculties. IFRS is another important subject which is taught in BCom and MCom. They wanted this training. Our faculty, CA members, are training them again for 12 hours of training spread across 6 days, commencing on 17th of this month. In addition to that, Bangalore branch conducted several other social programs like vaccination drive, blood donation, sapling plantation, and more importantly, Bangalore branch and Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association joined together to collect more than 25 lakhs of rupees and donated oxygen generator, oxygen bank, generator machine. We supplied to across Karnataka districts, including MP's oxygen bank. These are all the initiatives taken by the Bangalore branch. With the help of the managing committee and the support of all the members, we are able to do good number of social cause programs for the benefit of general public, which we supposed to do, which I think ICAI with our visionary leader, President ICAI told us to do, which we have done. With that note, once again, hearty welcome to each one of you. Friends, one more agenda at 2 is pending from Bangalore branch is CABF. CABF is Chartered Accountants Benevolent Fund, which we have put a stall and standee also in these premises, which we mentioned in our website for the general contribution. This CABF is for the members and their dependents, whoever find it in financial distress. Friends, it is our obligation, whatever best possible in generous, we have to contribute for the CABF. Currently, CABF is spending out of the corpus. I think more about this our president may mention. With that note, once again, hearty welcome to each one of you. Happy learning. Over to MC.
Thank you so much, sir, for welcoming us to this two-day national conference and giving an overview of the initiatives by the Bangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI. I now request CA Srinivasa T, Vice Chairman, Bangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI, to give us an overview of this two-day conference.
Respected Chief Guest, President of ICAI, Nihar Jambusaria sir, Guest of Honor, Past President CAK Raghu sir, Chairman of Bangalore branch of ICAI, PT Shetty sir, Secretary Divya, colleagues in the MC, past chairmen, President of KSCA, members, those who joined virtually, and members presented physically. Happy morning to you all. I can say it's my privilege to give a overview of this 2 days national conference. This conference is happening virtually as well as physically. As you all know, after this pandemic, members are very keen to join in virtually. Same to even for this conference. Many more members have joined in virtually rather than physically. This program is designed in such a way that all the basics and majority of the case studies and rulings has been included, even recent amendments. After our inauguration, our guest address is complete. Our first day program will start. The first session is between 10:30 to 12 noon. Classification concepts under GST. This session is handled by the well-known speaker, CA Viral M. Kandhar, Chennai. Between 12 12:30, we will be having a tea break. Between 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m., we have another second technical program on input tax credit, critical practical issues on input tax credit. This session is handled by CA Vishal Poddar from Nasik. After that, we have a sumptuous lunch between 2 to 2:45 p.m. The third technical session between 2:45 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. is on search, detention and seizure. This session is handled by the well-known speaker, CA Jitin Christopher from Bangalore. Again, we have a tea break between 4:15 to 4:30 p.m. The last technical session of the first day of the conference between 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. is on recent significant amendments in GST. This session is going to be handled by our own faculty member, CA V. Raghuraman from Bangalore. With this technical session, our first day programs will be ended. The second day of the conference, it starts between 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. First technical session on refunds under GST, a 360-degree view. This session is handled by CA Shankara Narayana from Chennai. Between 11:30 to 12 noon, we have again a tea break. 12 to 1:30 p.m. That second technical session of the second day of the conference is handling show cause notice under GST. It's been handled by CA NK Bharat Kumar from Chennai. 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. There is a lunch break. The third technical session between 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Finalization of accounts with GST perspective. This session is handled by CA S. Ramesh from Chennai. Between 4:30 p.m. the tea break. The last session of this conference of second day between 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. is on significant recent judicial rulings in GST. This session is handled by CA Gajendra Maheshwari from Gurgaon. With this overview, over to MC. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. We all know our leader, today's guest of honor, past president of ICAI, CA K. Raghu, and our chief guest, who is joining us virtually, our president, CA Nihar Jambusaria. Still, we would like to know more about them from our Secretary of Bangalore branch, CA Divya S. Please give us a brief overview of our guests for the conference.
Very good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, members who are present physically and also virtually. To give a very brief introduction about our guest of honors of today's program, we have CA Raghu with us, who was former president of ICA for the year 2014-15. Born and brought up in Bangalore, completed graduation from the prestigious St. Joseph College of Commerce, University of Bangalore. He is qualified as Chartered Accountant in the year 1990 and elected as President of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. By qualification, is a fellow member of ICA with more than 24 years of professional standing, honorary member of Certified Public Accounts of Australia, senior partner of K. Raghu and Co. Chartered Accountants firm in Bangalore, specialized in taxation, audit, business investment, technology, consulting services. He's also former director on board of Indian Overseas Bank, nominated by the Ministry of Finance as an independent director, former board member of International Federation of Accountants, New York, member of Audit Committee of International Federation of Accountants, chairman of CSR Committee of ICR. With this very, very brief introduction, we wholeheartedly welcome you, sir, for today's program. Hearty welcome. Members, we have our chief guest, CA Nihar N. Jambusaria, President of ICAI, a man of professional wisdom, vision, and strong organizational skills, with a firm belief in all-round inclusive growth of Indian chartered accountancy profession. He has been elected as the new president of ICAI for the year 2021-22, wherein he is currently serving for third consecutive term, 2013 onwards till 2022. A blend of erudition, experience, foresight, technical experience, and professional excellence, worth emulating, and a fellow chartered accountant from Mumbai. CA Jambusaria qualified as CA in the year 1984 and was in practice for nearly 27 years. He is also served as chairman of WARC of ICA during the year 2004 and 5. With this very, very brief introduction, I also wholeheartedly welcome our president for today's program. A round of applause.
Thank you, CA Divya. We now proceed to the inauguration of the conference by the lighting of the lamp. I request our guest of honor, CA K. Raghu, to do the honors. I also request the dignitaries on the dais, the MC members and RC members to join on the dais. I request our past chairman to kindly come onto the dais. I request all the past chairmen of Bangalore branch to kindly come onto the dais, and the KSCA president and secretary to come onto the dais for the lighting of the lamp. I request everyone to kindly stand up.
Our past president, Balakrishnan sir, is with us. Hearty welcome to you, sir. We now request our guest of honor, CAK Raghu, to address the gathering.
Good morning, friends. It's indeed a great privilege for me to be amongst you this morning, to be a guest for this two-day national conference on critical practical issues and recent amendments in GST. In fact, the original plan was that our president, Nihar Jambusalia, had to be here. But due to some urgent commitments, he couldn't travel to Bangalore. And yesterday, when our chairman in the afternoon called me up and said, Mr. Raghu, can you just please come and deliver the keynote? I readily agreed. Thanks to you, Mr. Shetty, for having invited me. And I think the entire Bangalore branch has done extremely well in spite of the pandemic. They've continuously ensured that the virtual seminars on all topics of professional interest were carried on for the last 2 years. I would like to compliment Mr. Bojraj Shetty and other managing committee members, that is Mr. Srinivas, the Vice Chairman, Divya, the Secretary, Mr. Panindra Gupta, for the excellent work they've been doing to see that knowledge updation continues during the pandemic. And I've personally seen myself that many members across the country registered for the online certification courses, which are extremely popular in the institute. And we had a very good response for all the certification courses. In fact, I myself went through a certification course on forensic audit, and it was a great experience for me to go through the certification courses. So the pandemic has as you say, for every challenge there's an opportunity. Many chartered accountants across the country registered for the certification courses online, and they were able to acquire new skill sets. My compliments to all of them. Today, we are very fortunate to have a galaxy of dignitaries. Mr. Balakrishnan, our distinguished past president from Chennai, he has migrated to Bangalore, is now settled in Bangalore. Very warm welcome to you, sir. And we also have many past chairmen present here. I would like to recognize Mr. P.V. Nagaraj Gupta, the past chairman of the Bangalore branch, Mr. Anil Rao, Mr. Babu K. Tevar, and Mr. Shivram Bhatt also for their presence here. Then we have, again, a galaxy of distinguished members, Mr. Madhamurthy, past chairman of the SIRC, Geeta, the regional council member, Pannaraj, regional council member, Kota Srinivas, past chairman of the SIRC, who all have put in so much of hard work last few months. All of you have seen. We wish them all the best. And I've been given to understand that the counting for the elections would start on the 16th of this month. And I'm sure we'll have a bigger representation from Karnataka, because last time we did not have a representation from our state. But I'm confident, considering the increased number of voting, percentage of voting, we are sure we'll have more representatives both at the Central Council and Regional Council. My compliments to all the candidates who have contested, and I wish them good luck. And I'm sure they will take the image of the profession to greater heights. Friends, having shared these initial observations, I thought, let me give my reflections on the GST regime, which was launched in the year 2017 by the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. In fact, on the occasion of 1st July 2017, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India had invited Mr. Narendra Modi. He addressed the members of the profession, and that was the same day when the GST regime was launched in our country. So I thought I would take this occasion to share a few of my insights on what has been the story so far. So basically, as you all know, implementing GST was, I can say, a very tough challenge for the government, because we had to see that a lot of integration had to happen, and the concept of one nation, one market, one tax, which the government of India planned, has been achieved, is what I personally feel. And the entire indirect tax regime, there's a seamless way in which it's been functioning. And the biggest advantage which I see was the elimination of double taxation that has led to overall taxes levied, each one of us have been benefited as consumers because of double taxation. The tax base has also increased. Today, if you see the statistics given by the CBIC, the indirect, the number of tax, assessees under the GST Act has substantially increased compared to what was there earlier. And the government has extensively used technology in trying to see the entire process is seamless. And as a result of which, those days, I still remember when I qualified as a chartered accountant in 1990, not many CAs used to practice in sales tax. Even maybe as good as, even before 2017, not many were active in the practicing VAT or sales tax. But today, we are absolutely, the new curriculum which has been brought in by the institute has made 100 marks compulsory for GST, and it's also been introduced in IPCC. So the new generation of chartered accountants will be qualifying, will be completely equipped to handle this law. And our members are continuously trying to update their knowledge by participating in the seminars conducted by the institute and the certification programs. So what has happened is technology has brought about a seamless implementation of the new legislation. Today, entire registration process is online. You are able to get your, file your returns online. Assessments would happen online, like how it's happening in the income tax return that have been filed. So what we could say is that the entire GST ecospace has changed. This is something good for the country, good for the taxpayers, and also good for us as professionals, so that we could spend more quality time on other important aspects of the GST law. Yes, COVID did impact GST. In fact, it impacted all sectors of the economy. COVID did disrupt, and even the indirect taxes revenues, started falling down. And a lot of extensions were given for easing compliance because many companies had to close down, many businesses got disrupted. So the compliance process was eased, and the indirect tax revenue also came down. And we also found that a lot of relief was given by the government on various goods and services to reduce the burden on the consumers. So the COVID also has impacted the way the indirect tax collections have happened in our country. If you see the collections from April 20 have mapped till November 21. So this is in 32,000 crores. Then you can just see the curve 141. And then today we are at 132. I think this shows that more or less things have stabilized, and post-COVID things have more or less coming back to normalcy. Coming to the filing of GST returns, yes, this was something which the practicing professionals used to represent before the institute. A lot of issues were there. And since 2017, the portal has been evolving. We see a lot of fine-tuning that is happening. Many representations have been made by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to see that the portal works more effectively. And the CBIC has been very proactively looking into all these suggestions. So very regularly, they are providing all the updates, changes in the GST portal. This was again a suggestion given by the Institute. And today what is happening is also a lot of training sessions available for the users. And many times we also see on the flip side that the clarifications given in the portal are quite vague. So in fact, the department has also provided the flexibility in the due date of filing returns monthly and quarterly, which has been a welcome step both by the taxpayers. Coming to the changes in the GST laws, the GST law, which was introduced in 2017, underwent a lot of changes, more than 700 notifications, 145 circulars, and over 30 orders. These are the changes. Yes, I think each one of us have to keep ourselves updated. At least if you're practicing in indirect taxes, you need to know what is happening, and we need to guide the clients, appropriately. And we also have seen that the changes have been made to address the taxpayer demands. They have carried out a lot of procedural simplifications, and to see how tax also could, and also changes have been made to curb tax evasions. So what has happened is that with the new GST rates and the complexities in interpreting the tax laws, we find that everyone needs to be skilled, whether it's chartered accountants, whether it's accountants at your client's place, whether it's CFOs. There's a need for all of us to acquire knowledge, more knowledge about this new law. we need to see how best we can empower our staff to perform effectively. This is one thing which I found most of the chartered accountants, when I interact with them, they say, Mr. Raghu, we have a shortage of skilled manpower handling indirect taxes. But I think this is a temporary transition phase. In the years to come, once you have the new batch of the young CAs coming into the profession, I think this would be more or less addressed to. And the new generation CAs, and even in the curriculum of the universities, the GST has been introduced, and I'm sure this would be a very temporary problem that the industry is facing, because currently there's a great demand for GST skilled resources, and there's a need for us to see how best we can train more and more resources and make them available to our clients. So friends, this is something which we need to keep in mind. We need to keep abreast of the developments taking place in the GST law. As far as the technology is concerned, yes, as I already said, a lot of features have been added. We have now the FAQs, we have manuals, timely guidance and guidelines and updation in the portal to factor in changes. And today what has happened, the biggest good thing that has happened in GST regime is that the technology used is so, you can say, modern. Cloud-based third-party software is also easily, you could integrate it with the portal, which is not happening, compared to the income tax portal. Today, we have a host of GST softwares that can automate the entire filing at your offices. And I've seen many chartered accountants employing, good GST software so that there's seamless filing of GST returns for their client. So this is very critical because you need to invest in technology. Today, every chartered accountant has adapted to technology. They've invested in technology, and absolutely essential for you to invest in software so that you're able to deliver services to your clients effortlessly. And then new features like e-invoicing, auto-filling of returns, real-time accurate data reporting by taxpayers to the government. I think all this were some of the key changes that were brought into the portal. And today we find that the e-way bill portal is also functioning quite effectively. Thanks to the feedback given by the members, the Institute also has given a lot of suggestions. And today the e-way bill portal is working quite well. Coming to GST audit, yes, this is something which is being debated in the profession. Whenever we address chartered accounts in the forums, they say why we lost GST audit, why the government removed GST audit. The Institute should represent. Yes, the Institute is representing. I would like to say that. Because basically we have made a very detailed representation to the government once again. I still remember when I was the president of the Institute, I had the opportunity of interacting with the chairman of CBIC when we impressed upon them the need for GST audit. It was taken very positively, but under the guise of ease of doing business, they've done away with GST audit. But I'm sure the department, the CBIC would understand that it is in their interest that GST audit should be introduced back. Recently, the Institute has made a detailed representation highlighting how GST audit can bring about a lot of benefits to the CBIC. And we find that the GST audit, the Institute has mapped that, it can help in detecting the inconsistencies, lapses, errors, and ambiguities in complying with the provision of GST law. And assessees who are trying to see that the things are not complied with well, errors are made by them while filing returns, the chartered accountant is able to identify the GST audit. And it also helps in plugging revenue leakages and ensures that the government gets its due within the time. This is the representation what we have made. And we also said that the government also benefits from GST audit in as much as it gets the structured data, because that is prepared and certified by the chartered accountant. So a whole lot of data is restructured and then uploaded by the chartered accountant, and that makes their job easy. And penalties and recovery will burden the taxpayer after completion of assessment. So we've also said that if the returns are not filed properly, if the data is not presented in a structured fashion, I think a lot of additional work would happen to the department by way of penalties and recoveries. As far as the assessment is concerned, I think all of you are aware the window for the annual returns for 17-18, 18-19, 19-20 has been closed. And now it's time for the department to take up the assessments. And of course, they've started off in a small way, but a whole lot of work for them to see how best they are able to conclude all this assessment. They've been very slow in taking up the assessments, considering the increased volume of returns that have been filed by the SSE over the last 3 years. And in one of the report I was reading, even the audit manual that is prepared for the tax officers, that is being prepared for the tax officers, is still under preparation. So even the department is gearing up to complete the assessments and see that the officers are trained. And some of the states do not have a separate GST commissionerate, or they do not have appropriate teams for conducting GST audit. So these are some of the challenges which the department is facing. And since another important thing which is, which is a cause of concern, is that non-availability of a structured litigation process. And in the absence of the GST tribunal, a lot of hardship is being caused to the taxpayers because they have to approach the high courts for relief. This is something that is impacting the industry. Industry is not very happy with this, and I'm sure the problem also would be addressed. Coming to the compensation, the states, I think we have been seeing in the media how states are not satisfied. But during the transition period, the center did made an arrangement to provide state compensation for loss of revenue. That is when in 2017, when GST was introduced, up to 22, the compensation to be made to the state was still 22. And due to the shortfall in collection of taxes due to COVID and other factors, I think they're not able to pass on the compensation on time. The total shortfall in GST compensation for the current financial year is 2,59,000 crores. And out of this, 1,59,000 crores has already been passed on to the states. And, I'm sure way forward, the balance also would be released. What I find is intent of the government is there to make good the compensation. I've also seen, I was on the board of a nationalized bank a few years back, when the banks were in need of additional funds, where capital were being introduced by the government. Our experience was very positive, and whenever we made a request to the Ministry of Finance, used to make a request to the Ministry of Finance, the banks used to get funds from the government. The intent of the government is to support all the states, and I'm sure this would happen. Only thing, it might take much time. So as a result of which, many of the states who are getting less funds allocated to them are not able to, carry out their budgetary spending. That is, their budget has been reduced drastically. But again, it's something which we need to keep in mind, that way forward things would improve. Coming to frauds in GST, this is something that each one of us, who are involved in filing tax returns for our GST returns for our clients, in whatever way we are advising them, I think we need to keep this in mind. This is something that has shaken the profession. So many frauds are coming out. We have been seeing in the media. And sometimes, yes, we find that a member of our profession is also involved in perpetuating the fraud. This is absolutely essential. And only one thing which I would like to share with all of you is that KYC is something very important. Know your client, which the institute has mandated for each one of us to follow. But I find that many of us have taken KYC very lightly. And we find that many private limited companies having foreign nationals as directors, we do not even see them. We would not have met them. I think you need to ensure that you do your KYC properly, get to know the client properly, so that you're able to conduct the work that has been given by him to you. Because in case you don't do a KYC, I think you will land in problems when you find that the client is not cooperating. This is something which we need to keep in mind. So basically what we have seen is that frauds in GST is increasing. And this is because of the loopholes in the GST process that is giving rise to so many frauds. Of course, fake invoicing is very common. Claiming excess input credit, claiming refund for fake exports are some of the common types of frauds we are supposed to detect and see that, so we don't be a part of such frauds that are committed. And today we find to mitigate such frauds, department also is using extensive technology to see how they can discover these frauds. But yes, as professionals, we need to be diligent. We need to do our homework well. And whenever we come across such frauds happening, I think we should disassociate with such clients and try to see how we don't become a part of the whole, fraud that has been committed. This is something which we need to keep in mind. And I'm sure members of our profession are diligent, and they'll be constantly looking out for such things happening, and so that they could shy away from such frauds. Friends, to conclude, I think it's been a great reform. The GST has been a good reform. Having been in practice for the last 30 years, I've seen, how sales tax regime was there, the VAT regime, which was there for almost 15 to 20 years. Then we have seen the GST regime. Yes, I think this is an excellent regime, the way the whole entire regime has been structured, the tax system has been structured. And of course, a lot of improvements are taking place because no tax reforms can happen overnight. There will be some glitches, there will be some technical difficulties, but I think it is all getting ironed out. And the structure, the process, and the procedures are being improved, and now they're getting stabilized. I'm sure way forward, we will see much more positive things, the way the GST portal is getting integrated with the income tax portal, how technology is being used to pick up data from the GST portal to identify assessees or not filing the tax return. These are all the things which we are seeing and noticing it. Way forward, I think more analytics will be used with data analytics being available to the department. I'm sure the assessees need to be very careful and try to see how best they're able to comply with all the laws, whether it's the Income Tax Act, whether it's the Companies Act, or whether it's the GST Act, or else they'll find it very difficult to conduct their business. And only one thing which the government should keep in mind, and we've also been seeing in the media, is that frequent changes are something that we're all used to in any of the legislation, whether it's the Companies Act or the Income Tax Act. This is also happening in the GST Act. That is because of so many reasons, demands of the consumers, stakeholders, regulators. A lot of changes are happening. But yes, one needs to understand that India is a large country. We have such a big population. The kind of businesses that are happening are so unique. The government has to consider the representations favorably. And that is the reason why we see so many changes. And as professionals, I think we have no choice but to update ourselves and guide our clients more effectively. Friends, with this, I would like to thank the chairman for having invited me. And I'm sure you'll have a great 2 days of learning. I went through the sessions that are, happening, and some of the speakers, which I've already listened, most of them I've listened to them, are extremely high-profile speakers across the country. And I'm sure this conference, 2 days conference, after the pandemic, all of us have been at home, and for the last 2 years, we'll enjoy meeting old friends, the networking, because conference gives you an opportunity to network. I still remember when we qualified, we used to take so much pride to attend a conference of the institute, and we used to meet a lot of chartered accountants, senior members, network with them, talk to them. I'm sure you'll enjoy, and good luck to all of you, and also to all the chartered accountant friends. I heard more than 5,000 people are viewing this online. I'm extremely thankful to all of you for having given me a patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. One nation, one tax. Well, you certainly are one man, multiple hats. Be it attending certification course or speaking about GST with ease, it was indeed a proud privilege to have you here with us, sir. I now request CA Nihar N. Jambusaria, President of ICAI, to address the gathering virtually.
Thank you, Madam. Good morning, everybody. Honorable past President C.A. Raghuji, the Chairman, Vice Chairman and Secretary of Bangalore branch, and all the participants of this national conference. Let me at the outset compliment the branch for organizing this physical event after such a long time. As Raghuji mentioned, we were all locked down, and even after the lockdowns were lifted, we were not allowed to meet like this physically. And this is the time when we resume to our networking, which we used to do before, which is so much important for the growth of the profession, for the growth of each chartered accountant and his or her office. So this is a good step that today you have organized this. It would have been pleasure to personally come to Bangalore, to which I agreed. But for some emergencies around which we have to work, compelled me to cancel the program of Bangalore and come to you virtually. However, the virtual mode is giving us the opportunity to interact anyways, whether we are able to travel and meet personally or not. So this is an opportunity. Today, you are discussing GST, a very important legislation which has created number of opportunities for the profession. The entire framework of GST, Raghuji very rightly and very aptly put in the limited time, covering every aspect of GST, particularly the KYC, which is so important, And to me, particularly today, the GST frauds which are happening and which are giving disrepute to profession when some member gets involved in the GST fraud. I would make an appeal that in spite of the glitches in the processes, which they may correct over a period of time, chartered accountants should always ensure that we follow all ethical practices and our names don't appear. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, we have seen a number of names, complaints from the department and from outside, along with others who are not CS. A very few of the chartered accountants also got involved in these frauds, and we must avoid this. See, the government is thinking of amending the CA Act only because of these events, these incidents which happen. And the time is very different. Somebody may argue that even less than 1% of uh, our fraternity may be involved in such activities. And why should the entire profession suffer? Friends, please remember that today, in the era of social media, even if one wrong incident happens, it is highlighted and magnified so much that people think as if chartered accountants are always involved in such activities. So we must avoid even a single incident of this type happening and being done by our professional brother or sister. So that is one. Let me also talk about, because about GST, Raghuji has spoken at length. I may only inform so far as GST audit or that certificate of reconciliation which we were doing earlier is concerned. Time and again we have put before the government that if this reconciliation is not certified by an independent person like chartered accountant, then when you carry out the assessment or audit of a handful of 2 or 3% of the taxpayers, you will not be able to lay your hands on the errors that may have happened, or even somebody may have knowingly underpaid GST. You will have no control over that. While chartered accountants were doing this duty so diligently, the government did not realize the importance of it. We are trying to highlight and make them understand that GST audit was necessary. If at all, this can be diluted a bit by modifying the provision. Let me talk about the other opportunities which are knocking our doors, particularly during the pandemic when everything was static. We could realize that a number of opportunities are knocking our doors, particularly technology, about which we were worried that technology will really disrupt some of our functions and some of our jobs. But finally, you may notice and you may feel and appreciate that technology has created so many new jobs for all of us that, like in the past when computers were introduced and we started growing fast, with the new technologies like AI, blockchain, data analytics, robotic processes, we will grow at a very fast pace. The institute has launched under the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board a number of programs, a number of certificate courses, very much tailored to the requirement of a chartered accountant, that we can learn this technology so easily and make full use of it for the purpose of growth of our profession and the client. There are many other areas which have come up, particularly during the pandemic. The MSMEs suffered so badly and some of them closed down and were liquidated. There the institute came up and the government highly appreciated it. The so many schemes which state governments have launched, RBI has launched. We have certificate courses on this under the MSME committee, where members are learning and passing on this knowledge to the MSMEs and helping them professionally. This has also created a new opportunity for our profession. Let us also look at the new area which has emerged in last 2 to 3 years, and that is sustainability. Government of every country is giving so much weightage and importance to sustainability, particularly if you have seen in last 2 years a large number of cyclones, large number of floods and earthquakes happening because of climate change. And climate change has become the biggest concern of the entire world. Every country in the world is focusing attention on carbon emission and so many steps to prevent climate change and retain the temperature at the level where it is. It is very difficult to get it reduced. It is continuously increasing. India has also taken initiative. Last year, our institute established Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, and it is doing excellent job with SEBI and Niti Aayog. Going forward, this will be a new area of practice. The members should learn sustainability initiatives very keenly because SEBI has made reporting for sustainability mandatory for top 1000 listed companies. Going forward, this will be mandatory even for smaller corporates. And sustainability is nothing but reporting on non-financials. If you look at balance sheets or financial statements of some of the very big companies like Reliance, Mahindra, Tata's, they have given so much attention to non-financial reporting, and it will be a good area for consultation as well as in future assurance, that is the certification of non-financial reports will become mandatory, and this will happen very fast. Let our members gear up and grab this opportunity so that when it comes our way, we immediately grab it and do our best in this area. Friends, there are many other initiatives, particularly if new members are attending. I may say that if they are planning their career in any other part of the world, now we have 44 chapters and 29 representative offices spread over 71 cities of the world and 47 countries of the world, where our chapter chairmen are always prepared to help youngsters who want to settle down in those countries. At present, Canada, Australia, South Africa, some of the Gulf countries present numerous opportunities for chartered accountants to settle down, and even professional opportunities after the advent of technology. Even from India, you may operate, but grab professional opportunities arising in foreign countries. Friends, these were some of the developments. There are many other things going on. On this occasion, I wish all the best to this conference. I am sure that you will all have a lot of value add at the end of the conference. Number of excellent speakers are lined up. Very current topics on GST are lined up, and that is a sign of our profession that we always take up current issues and have thorough discussions for the benefit of our members. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure speaking here, and I'm so happy that today Raghuji, who was the president in my second year of council membership. I entered the council in 2013 and Raghuji was president in 2014. Since then, he has always been a guiding factor and guiding force behind all the council members who entered at that time. Thank you so much for inviting. It was a pleasure talking with you. Thank you.
For the people who are committed, the place or time doesn't really matter much. And our president has truly embodied it and did address virtually amidst his very busy schedule. Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a pleasure to have you here.
Our first technical session speaker, CA Viral M. Khandar, all the way from Chennai, is present with us. If I could request her to join us on the dais, I request CA BT Shetty to welcome her with a floral bouquet.
Welcome you, ma'am. We now proceed to the pleasant task of felicitating our guest of honor. I request the dignitaries on the dais to do the honors. We also request the MC members, RC members, and past chairmen to join us on the dais, please. A huge round of applause, please.
Thank you so much, Raghu sir, for being with us here today. I now request CA Divya S, Secretary, Bangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI, to present the vote of thanks for this inaugural session.
Dear members, I take this occurrence on behalf of Bangalore branch to propose formal vote of thanks for today's inaugural session. I submit my sincere gratitude to our chief guest of President CA Nihar N. Jambusaria. In spite of his hectic schedule, he joined us virtually and addressed all of us. Thank you so much, sir. Wholehearted thanks to our own president, CA Raghu sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence here, coming here, physically and addressing all of us. Thank you so much, sir. I also thank all the speakers of today's and tomorrow's program and members who are present here physically and also virtually for your active participation and the support. Thank you all members. And also thank all the senior members present here, past chairmen, past president, SIRC members and all. Thank you so much.